Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're an oldie but a goodie, welcome if you're new. Sabrina, you want to come hear the story? Okay, you're going to bed? No? Okay, you want to come sit down? I'll read the story to you too? Okay, love you. What's wrong?
I don't have a phone.
Oh.
It's broken.
Well, tomorrow's Tuesday. So you'll get one on tomorrow. You guys know my child, so I don't have to explain. Excuse me. No, I'm not going to show them this. I only have 19 minutes. Anyways, guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're an oldie but a goodie, welcome if you're new, because you thought this might be an interesting show to watch. Put the dog down. Poor dog. I don't know why they put up with her. She's just constantly all over them. Don't.
I'm getting that one.
No, leave her alone. She's sleeping. If you're playing Roblox, leave her alone.
But I like that one.
Guys, I thought it would be, since it's not Halloween season, it's not spooky season yet, but it is Halloween hunting season. Halloween hunting season. You gonna get up, Bubba's? Go on, get up. Go on, get up. He's such a particular dog. Okay, I'm not gonna move the phone. Anyways, back to what I thought. I have a book that I thought I would share with you all, and it'll put me back in your wonderful graces. You'll get to see my smiling face more and more. So anyways, I got a book that I've wanted to read myself, and unfortunately the adult version of this book is so thick and the words are so little, I would never get through the first page. But I thought I would do it with one of the children's books. This is a treasury of illustrated classics, and I thought we could read Frankenstein together. What do y'all think? So in because it is haunting season, Halloween haunting or hunting season. Hold on a second. Okay, he's up, he's down, we're good. So I want to share Frankenstein with you. I thought it'd be a nice kind of, this is a nice book, so we'll do a chapter at a time. Hopefully we can get through it. Like if I do it every day of the week, we can get through this. So, and then I thought maybe we do some other classics. You know, kind of a what is that show? Not Story Theater. Oh, I can't even think of it. Masterpiece Theater, but we'll call it Storybook Theater. If you don't know, just a little brief. Well, we won't do the first chapter, I think, tonight. Just a little history on Frankenstein. I love how this is written on here. Look at that. I thought I'd read this little part here about the author, Mary Shelley, female author, actually. And it says here, born in London on August 30th, 1797, Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin came from a talented family. Her father was the novelist and political journalist William Godwin. Her mother, Mary Wollstonecraft, wrote an important book on women's rights, Vindication of the Rights of Women. Mary was not formally educated, but she read many books and absorbed the literary atmosphere of the household. In 1816, at the age of 19, Mary wed poet Pierce Bysshe Shelley and joined his literary circle. In the summer of 1816, during a stay near Geneva, Switzerland, her husband and his friends challenged her to write a ghost story, and so she began to write what became her most famous work, Frankenstein. After her husband's death in 1822, Shelley wrote 4 more novels and contributed occasional stories to popular literary journals. She died in 1851. So now we know about Mary Shelley. So I guess we can, I thought there might be more. So let's go ahead, book it in. So this was, is the Treasury Illustrated Book of Classics. It's the children's version. So it's been adapted, but it should give us an idea. Because there's just no way I could read the actual book. It's just too much. I would love to have a nice copy of it, but I don't think I could read it. Okay. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, adapted by C. Lewis March, illustrated by Bob Berry. And it looks like we have 20 chapters. I can see why. Like I said, it is a long book. So we'll start with chapter 1. Chapter 1. Robert Walton's Correspondence. To Mr. Seville, England. St. Petersburg, December 11th, 17... whatever year you want it to be in 1700s. Dear sister, we will be happy to hear that yesterday I arrived safely at my destination. I know that you are worried about my voyage and the dangers that I will face in order to succeed. I am already far north of London as I walk through the streets of St. Petersburg. The cold northern breeze seems to call me onward. It is just a hint of the icy climate that I must still travel through. But at the pole, which I will one day reach, the sun is forever visible. I succeed. Many months, perhaps years, will pass before I am able to return to you. But if I fail, you will see me again very soon. Or never. Farewell, my dear sister. With love, Robert Walton. To Mrs. Seville, England. Archangel, March 28th, 17. And it just says, just to show you guys, it just says 17 with nothing else there. So that's why I'm saying pick a year. Dear Margaret, the time passes slowly here in this land of frost and snow. I have hired a ship and sailors that I believe to be courageous and dependable. Still, I yearn for a real companion, someone who can share the joys and sorrows of my grand adventure. I am in need of someone to help guide me in this perilous journey. For the first 14 years of my life, I ran wild and read nothing but our Uncle Thomas books. Now I am 28, and my lack of education shows. My romantic dreams of adventure need to be reared in. I look in vain among merchants and seamen, for their lives are driven by necessity. The winter has been severe, but spring has come remarkably early. Perhaps I may sail even sooner than I expected, now that my journey is about to begin. So here's a little picture of the boat. There you go. I feel a mixture of exhilaration and of fear. Yes, there is a dreamer in me. It is true that I seek fame and glory, but I am also a hard worker and concerned for the safety of the crew. I cannot promise you that all will be well, but I have great hope of seeing you again. In the meantime, please continue to write me. Your letters bring me such comfort. Your affectionate brother, Robert Walton. To Miss Seville, England, August 5th, 17. Dearest sister, although it is likely that you will see me before this letter reaches you, I must record the strange things that have taken place. Last Monday we were almost completely surrounded by ice. It closed in on the ship on all sides, scarcely leaving her room to bob in the sea. Adding to the danger was a thick, blinding fog. At about 2 o'clock, the mist cleared away, and we saw, stretched out in every direction, vast and irregular plains of ice. The crew grew anxious, and I must admit, so did I. You can see them looking at the ice. I love this book. I love the pages of this book. The appearance of a sled drawn by dogs, which passed northward half a mile away, drew our minds away from the danger. The figure who sat on the sled and guided the dogs along the ice was enormous. We viewed his rapid progress through our telescopes. Since we were shut in by ice, it was impossible to follow his tracks. Before nightfall, the ice broke and our ship was free. In the morning, I went on deck and found the sailors talking to someone in the sea. I saw a sled like the one we had seen the night before. It had drifted toward us on a large fragment of ice. Only one sled dog remained alive. A human being lay inside the carriage. The sailors were urging him to board our ship. He certainly was not the giant we had seen through our telescope. When I came on deck, one sailor said, "Here is our captain, and he will not allow you to die on the open sea." The stranger spoke to me in English, but he had a foreign accent. "Before I come on board your vessel," he said, "will you tell me where you are headed?" Astonished that he did not gladly scramble on board, I replied that we sought the northern pole. When he heard this, he nodded his head, and the men helped him on board. His body was still lean and frozen. Before we could carry him into the cabin, he fainted. We worked to revive him on the deck. As soon as he began to move again, we wrapped him up in blankets and placed him near the chimney of the kitchen stove. Slowly, he recovered and ate some hot soup, which restored him. 2 days passed before he was able to speak again. Then I had him taken to my own cabin, and I cared for him when I could. His looks are quite remarkable. His eyes are wide, even mad. But if anyone is kind to him, his face lights up. Generally, he is depressed. It is clear that his mind is weighed down with a great burden. I turned to restrain the sailors from distressing him further by asking questions, but the lieutenant asked why he had come so far upon the ice on his sled. "To follow a bitter enemy," he replied. "Does this man travel on sled too?" the lieutenant asked. "Yes," he said. "Then we have seen him," the lieutenant replied. "The day before we rescued you, we saw a sled across the ice. Aboard it was a man of monstrous proportions." The stranger became very agitated when he heard this. He tried to discover which direction the demon, as he called him, traveled. Later, the stranger asked me if I thought that the other sled had been destroyed when the ice broke. I replied that the traveler might have arrived at a place of safety before the ice broke, but I could not be certain. After this exchange, I noticed that he became more animated. He was eager to be on deck to watch for the other sled. By promising that someone else would keep watch, I persuaded him to rest in the cabin. The stranger was gradually improved in health, but is very silent and appears uneasy when anyone except me enters his cabin. I must tell you that I have taken to him like a brother. I am troubled by his grief and despair. He must have been a noble man in his better days. I said in one of my letters that I thought I would never find a friend on the wide open ocean. I believe that I have a friend, such a man who before his spirit was broken by misery would have been a true companion. There we have them together when he's asking him about the other sled. To Miss Saville, England, August 13th, 17. Dear Margaret, my affection for my guest increases every day. He is gentle and wise. Much recovered from his illness, he is always on deck watching for his demon on the sled. One day, as I spoke to my new friend, he became gloomy. He placed his hands over his eyes. I saw tears trickling between his fingers. He exclaimed, "Let me reveal my tale." With these words he collapsed, and many hours of rest were necessary to restore his composure. He turned his attention upon me, asking for the history of my earlier years. I spoke of my desire for a friend, and he expressed my belief that a man could boast a little happiness if he did not have such a friend. He heartily agreed with me and said, "I once had for a friend the most noble of human creatures. I have lost him, and far more than he. You have hope. and the world before you, and have no cause for despair. But I have lost everything and cannot begin life anew. R.W. So here they are. Having some soup or bread, not really sure. To Mrs. Saville, England, August 19th. Dear Margaret, yesterday the stranger said to me, "You seek knowledge and wisdom, as I once did. I hope that your desires may not be a serpent to sting you, as mine have been. I had hoped with my story that my story would die with me. Yet when I think that you may be on the same course, exposing yourself to the same dangers that I have destroyed, I am driven to share this tale with you. R.W. Here is a story of how Victor Frankenstein became the haunted figure that Robert Walton saved from drowning in the frigid seas. Told to and recorded by Walton, these words reproduced as nearly as possible those of Frankenstein himself. So that was chapter 1. We'll leave it there. Like I said, we will get back to it in the next day or so. So guys, come along with me on the journey of Frankenstein. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll see you on the flip side. Bye everybody.